Question 1. Given the circumstances, Mr. Ahmed is configuring payment methods for a multinational company. He needs to ensure that payments to vendors in different countries adhere to the local regulatory requirements while also supporting electronic payments. What is the best approach Mr. Ahmed should take in Oracle Payables to achieve this? A. Define a single global payment method and rely on bank intermediaries to manage local compliance. B. Configure multiple payment methods tailored to each country's regulatory and currency requirements. C. Use only wire transfers for all payments to simplify processing. D. Set payment formats only at the bank level without associating them with payment methods. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Configuring multiple payment methods that are tailored to the regulatory and currency needs of each country is critical for compliance and operational efficiency. Oracle Payables allows different payment methods to be created with specific attributes such as payment formats, bank accounts, and currency handling, relying on a single global payment method oversimplifies and risks non-compliance with local laws. Using only wire transfers is inflexible and may not be accepted everywhere. Setting payment formats only at the bank level neglects the need for distinct payment methods linked to business needs, compliance requirements. Question 2. Under the assumption that Chen is managing invoice holds, she notices several invoices are on hold due to mismatches in purchase order quantities. She wants to allow certain users to release these holds after review. What is the best way to enable controlled release of holds in Oracle Payables? A. Assign users the invoice processor role to allow hold releases. B. Configure hold types with corresponding security profiles and assign them to appropriate users. C. Allow all users with Payables access to release holds to speed up invoice processing. D. Disable invoice holds altogether to avoid manual intervention delays. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. While disabling holds might speed processing, it undermines control and auditability, potentially causing payment errors or fraud. The best practice is to configure hold types with security profiles, ensuring only authorized users can release specific holds after proper review. Simply assigning broad roles or allowing all users to release holds risks unauthorized payments. Controlled release mechanisms maintain compliance, accuracy, and segregation of duties in invoice processing. Question 3. As illustrated by recent implementation challenges, Mr. Patel is designing the integration between Oracle Payables and General Ledger. He must ensure that accounting entries reflect correct period dates and segment values. What principle should guide his configuration? A. Use the Payables transaction date exclusively for all GL postings. B. Leverage subledger accounting rules to generate entries based on transaction and accounting dates. C. Post all Payables transactions directly without subledger accounting for faster processing. D. Use manual journal adjustments after Payables posting to fix period issues. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Direct posting of Payables transactions without subledger accounting bypasses Oracle's robust control and rules engine, increasing the risk of incorrect or inconsistent accounting entries. The recommended approach is to use Oracle Subledger Accounting (SA), which applies detailed accounting rules and uses both transaction and accounting dates to generate correct GL entries. Manual journal adjustments are inefficient, error-prone, therefore Subledger Accounting is essential for accurate and compliant integration. Question 4. During the process of supplier onboarding, Lopez encounters suppliers with multiple addresses for billing, shipping, and payment purposes. How should she configure suppliers in Oracle Payables to correctly manage this complexity? A. Create separate supplier records for each address type. B. Use supplier sites to define multiple addresses and assign specific uses such as billing or payment. C. Store all addresses in one supplier site and manually specify address type in invoice comments. D. Limit the supplier to one address to simplify the system setup. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Oracle Payables supports multiple supplier sites for managing distinct addresses such as billing, shipping, and payment locations. Creating separate suppliers for each address leads to data duplication and reconciliation difficulties. Keeping all addresses in a single supplier site reduces flexibility and can cause errors. Limiting suppliers to one address oversimplifies and is impractical for real-world business needs. Therefore, defining multiple supplier sites is the best practice. Question 5. With respect to invoice validation, Mr. Thompson wants to ensure invoices are accurate and comply with company policy before approval. What is the most effective way to enforce this in Oracle Payables? A. Rely on manual reviews only after invoice approval. B. Use automatic validation rules that check for data completeness, matching tolerances, and tax calculations. C. Allow invoices to pass through validation and catch errors during payment processing. D. Disable invoice validation to expedite processing. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Allowing invoices to pass through validation without enforced checks increases the risk of errors and compliance issues downstream. Manual review after approval is inefficient and may miss errors early. Disabling validation compromises data integrity and internal controls. The best practice is to use Oracle Payables automated validation features, which check for completeness, purchase order matching tolerances, and accuracy before approval to ensure only compliant invoices proceed. Question 6. In a context of managing multiple ledgers and currencies is new and needs to ensure that currency conversion rates are applied correctly for payables transactions to maintain accurate reporting. What is the optimal configuration approach? A. Use a single ledger currency and ignore conversion rates for simplicity. B. Maintain conversion rates in Oracle Financials Cloud's currency conversion setup and associate with each ledger. C. Perform manual currency conversions outside the system after invoice entry. D. Apply fixed conversion rates for the entire fiscal year without updates. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Using a single ledger currency and ignoring conversion rates neglects multinational business realities, leading to inaccurate financials and reporting. Manual currency conversion is error-prone and inefficient. Fixed rates for an entire year ignore market fluctuations and regulatory requirements. The best practice is to maintain current currency conversion rates in the system and associate them properly with ledgers transactions to ensure accurate and compliant multi-currency processing. Question 7. Considering the evidence from recent audit findings, Mr. Davis notices discrepancies in invoice approvals, with some invoices bypassing the workflow. What should he do to ensure proper invoice approval workflow enforcement in Oracle Payables? A. Disable approval workflows to speed invoice processing. B. Assign approval limits and conditions within BPM workflow rules to enforce routing. C. Allow users to manually override workflow approvals. D. Limit workflow to only invoices above a certain amount without exceptions. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Disabling workflows or allowing manual overrides undermines internal controls and audit compliance. Limiting workflows only for large invoices leaves smaller but still material invoices unchecked. The proper approach is to configure approval limits and conditional routing within BPM to automate workflow enforcement, ensuring each invoice follows appropriate approval paths based on business rules and risks of unauthorized payments. Question 8. In light of recent developments, Rivera must configure tax regimes and rates to handle complex tax scenarios including multiple jurisdictions and tax recovery. Which configuration approach is most suitable? A. Define a single tax regime for all transactions regardless of location. B. Create tax regimes specific to jurisdictions and link appropriate tax rates and rules. C. Calculate taxes manually outside Oracle Payables. D. Disable tax calculations in Payables and rely on general ledger adjustments. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A single tax regime for all jurisdictions fails to meet compliance requirements and can cause incorrect tax reporting. Manual tax calculation is error-prone and inefficient. Disabling tax calculations in Payables shifts complexity to the GL and increases risk. Oracle Payables supports defining tax regimes for different jurisdictions and linking tax rates and rules appropriately to automate accurate tax calculation and reporting, ensuring compliance. Question 9. When analyzing recurring invoice management, Mr. Gomez wants to set up invoices for a monthly subscription service. What feature in Oracle Payables best supports this requirement? A. Create separate invoices manually every month. B. Use the recurring invoices feature to automate invoice creation at specified intervals. C. Use credit memos repeatedly for monthly charges. D. Generate invoices only on demand and track manually. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Manual monthly invoice creation or on-demand generation leads to inefficiency errors and missed invoices. Reusing credit memos for recurring charges is inappropriate as they represent adjustments, not standard invoices. Oracle Payables recurring invoices feature automates creation on defined intervals, improving accuracy and reducing manual workload, making it ideal for subscription or regular expense scenarios. Question 10. Throughout the course of integrating Oracle Procurement Cloud with Payables, White finds some purchase orders not reflected in Payables for invoice matching. What is the most likely cause and the recommended solution? A. Procurement Cloud does not integrate with Payables. B. PO lines are not approved or fully receipted, blocking invoice creation in Payables. C. The Payables module must be reinstalled to fix integration. D. Suppliers must manually submit POS for Payables to recognize them. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Oracle Procurement Cloud integrates directly with Payables. The issue is unlikely to be a lack of integration. More commonly, invoice matching fails if purchase orders are not approved or goods receipts are incomplete, preventing invoice processing. Reinstalling Payables is unrelated to integration issues. Suppliers do not submit POS. A procurement and Payables modules communicate system to system. Correct solution. Ensure POS are approved and receipt processes complete before invoice creation. Question 11. From the perspective of configuring enterprise structures, Martinez is setting up legal entities and business units for a complex multinational corporation. She needs to ensure accurate financial reporting and operational segregation. What is the most appropriate approach for configuring these entities in Oracle Payables? A. Configure each legal entity with one business unit that handles all payables activities worldwide. B. Define multiple legal entities aligned with regulatory jurisdictions and assign business units accordingly. C. Create a single legal entity and business unit, but use descriptive flex fields to differentiate operations. D. Use business units only without setting up legal entities for simplification. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. A single legal entity and business unit with only descriptive flex fields for differentiation risks non-compliance with statutory reporting and audit requirements. Using business units without legal entities ignores the legal and regulatory structure necessary for financial and tax reporting. Configuring multiple legal entities aligned with jurisdictional requirements and mapping business units to them, proper segregation of financial responsibilities, legal compliance, and clear financial statements, which is critical for multinational companies. Question 12. When considering invoice matching, Mr. Chen receives an invoice that doesn't match the purchase order quantity but matches the receipt quantity. How should Oracle Payables handle this situation based on best practice? A. Reject the invoice immediately without any holds. B. Place three-way match hold allowing manual review and resolution before payment. C. Automatically approve the invoice because receipt quantity matches. D. Just the purchase order quantity to match the invoice. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Rejecting invoices outright without review can cause disruption and inefficiencies. Adjusting purchase orders to match incorrect invoices undermines procurement controls. Automatically approving invoices based solely on receipt quantity ignores potential discrepancies that can impact payment accuracy. The recommended approach is a three-way matching process involving purchase order, receipt, and invoice. If quantities don't match, hold should be placed for manual review to resolve differences, ensuring accuracy and compliance. Question 13. Under the assumption that Mr. Singh is tasked with setting up security for Payables users, which method best enforces segregation of duties and controls access appropriately? A. Assign all users the same Payables role for ease of administration. B. Use role-based access control (RBAC) to define roles with specific privileges and assign users accordingly. C. Provide users with direct database access to update Payables data. D. Allow users to self-assign roles based on their needs. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Assigning all users the same role compromises segregation of duties and increases risk of fraud. Direct database access bypasses application-level controls and is not best practice. allowing users to self-assign roles removes governance and control. Role-based access control (RBAC) enables granular control by defining roles with specific responsibilities and assigning them according to job functions, enforces compliance and protects sensitive payables data. Question 14. In light of recent developments, is Zhao reviewing payment batches to optimize processing efficiency? What should she consider when configuring payment batches in Oracle Payables? A. Group payments by supplier regardless of currency or payment method. B. Organize payment batches based on payment process profiles, currency, and bank account. C. Use a single batch for all payments to minimize administrative overhead. D. Manually create each payment to ensure accuracy. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Manually creating each payment batch is inefficient and error-prone, especially for high-volume payables. Grouping payments without considering currency or payment method risks payment failures or delays. A single batch for all payments ignores important processing distinctions and can cause reconciliation issues. Best practice is to organize payment batches by payment process profiles, currency, and bank account. Ensure smooth, automated processing that aligns with business and bank requirements. Question 15. Taking into account currency and conversion rate management, Mr. Rossi is configuring conversion rate types. Which principle should guide his setup to ensure accurate financial reporting? A. Use a single flat conversion rate for all transactions regardless of rate type. B. Define different conversion rate types such as spot, corporate, and historical and assign appropriately. C. Allow users to input conversion rates manually during invoice entry. D. Disable currency conversion features to simplify payables processing. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Using a single flat rate ignores business realities and market fluctuations. Disabling currency conversion is not practical for multinational operations. Allowing manual entry introduces errors and inconsistency. The best practice is to define various conversion rate types, such as spot rates for current transactions, corporate rates for consolidation, and historical rates for specific accounting scenarios, and assign them properly. This ensures accurate currency conversion aligned with accounting policies and reporting requirements. Question 16. Based on the information provided, Mr. Keller is tasked with ensuring compliance with tax rules in Oracle Payables. Which approach best supports accurate tax determination and reporting? A. Use a single tax code for all transactions to simplify tax reporting. B. Configure tax regimes, tax rules, and assign them based on transaction jurisdiction and type. C. Exclude tax processing from payables and handle taxes manually outside the system. D. Disable tax reporting to speed up invoice processing. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A single tax code for all transactions oversimplifies tax complexity, likely causing misreporting and non-compliance. Excluding tax processing or disabling tax reporting bypasses essential controls and creates audit risks. Oracle Payables allows the configuration of multiple tax regimes and rules based on jurisdiction and transaction types, which is essential for compliance with local tax laws and accurate reporting. This approach automates tax calculations, reduces errors, and ensures regulatory adherence. Question 17. Given the circumstances, is Walker wants to improve supplier data accuracy and reduce onboarding time. Which best practice should she implement? A. Manually enter supplier data for all new suppliers to ensure accuracy. B. Use supplier registration and onboarding workflows enabling suppliers to enter and update their own information through a portal. C. Import supplier data from external sources without validation. D. Limit the number of suppliers to reduce onboarding complexity. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Manual data entry is labor-intensive and prone to errors. Importing data without validation risks inaccuracies and duplicates. Limiting suppliers is unrealistic for growing businesses. Supplier registration and onboarding workflows with a self-service portal empower suppliers to provide accurate, up-to-date information. This approach enhances data quality, reduces administrative overhead, and accelerates on improving operational efficiency and supplier collaboration. Question 18. Considering the evidence from operational reports, Mr. Brown wants to troubleshoot frequent invoice validation errors related to tax calculations. Which steps should he take first? A. Review and update the tax configuration to ensure correct tax rules and rates are applied. B. Disable tax validation to allow invoices to process faster. C. Manually adjust taxes on each invoice after validation failure. D. Ignore tax errors if they do not affect payment processing. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Disabling validation or ignoring errors compromises compliance and financial accuracy. Manual adjustments are inefficient and increase risk of mistakes. The first step is to thoroughly review tax configurations, ensuring that tax regimes, rules, and rates are correctly defined and mapped to transactions. To identify and fix root causes. Proper configuration minimizes errors and ensures compliance in validation and tax reporting. Question 19. Within the framework of advanced payment options, ISCAP wants to configure stop payments for issued checks that are lost or suspected stolen. What is the appropriate Oracle Payables action to handle this? A. Void the check payment and create a new payment immediately without any system stop. B. Use the stop payment feature to prevent check clearing and notify the bank accordingly. C. Cancel the invoice associated with the check to avoid payment. D. Do nothing and wait for the check to be returned undelivered. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Voiding checks and recreating payments without a stop payment process can cause reconciliation issues and duplicate payments. Canceling invoices is incorrect because the invoice remains valid. Ignoring lost or stolen checks risks financial loss. Oracle Payables stop payment feature formally prevents the check from being cleared by the bank and communicates this to financial institutions, mitigating fraud risk and maintaining accurate payment records. Question 20. How might one explain the importance of invoice approval workflow automation in Oracle Payables in relation to regulatory compliance and operational efficiency? A. It slows down the process by adding unnecessary steps and approvals. B. It ensures audit trails, enforces segregation of duties, and speeds up approvals via predefined routing. C. It allows anyone to approve invoices without controls. D. It is optional and rarely used in modern implementations. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Allowing anyone to approve invoices without controls introduces risks of fraud and errors. While workflow automation enhances some process steps, it enhances operational efficiency by automating routing, notifications, and escalation, reducing bottlenecks. It also creates detailed audit trails required for regulatory compliance and enforces segregation of duties, critical for internal controls. Therefore, approval workflow automation is a best practice in Oracle Payables implementations. Question 21. In the context of managing invoice holds, Mr. Wallace encounters an invoice held due to a budget check failure. What should be the best course of action to resolve this hold within Oracle Payables? A. Release the hold immediately without further checks to avoid payment delays. B. Review the budget and either increase it or adjust the invoice amounts before releasing the hold. C. Delete the invoice and create a new one to bypass the hold. D. Ignore the hold and proceed with payment manually outside the system. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Releasing holds without proper budget review undermines financial controls and can cause overspending. Deleting invoices circumvents audit trails and should never be used to bypass holds. Ignoring holds and manually paying risks unauthorized payments and non-compliance with budgetary controls. The appropriate action is to review and adjust budgets or invoice amounts to maintain fiscal discipline while resolving hold correctly. Question 22. Given the circumstances, is Foster wants to configure the supplier payment terms to support early payment discounts while ensuring compliance with cash flow constraints. What configuration in Oracle Payables best supports this requirement? A. Set payment terms with discount dates and amounts and enable automatic discount application during payment processing. B. Ignore early payment discounts to simplify payment runs. C. Manually calculate and apply discounts that are outside the system. D. Apply discounts only after payments are processed and reconciled. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Ignoring discounts or manual calculations reduces the efficiency and accuracy of payment processing. Applying discounts after payment negates the benefit of early payment incentives. Oracle Payables allows configuration of payment terms with defined discount periods and automatic application of discounts during payment runs, enabling optimized cash flow management and supplier relationship benefits. Question 23. Based on the information, Mr. Gupta is managing recurring invoices for subscription services. What potential risk does he face if he improperly sets up recurring invoices without validation controls? A. Recurring invoices will never be created. B. Duplicate or incorrect invoices may be generated, causing payment errors and reconciliation issues. C. Manual invoice entry will be required for all subscriptions. D. Recurring invoices will automatically correct errors in original invoices. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Improper setup generally leads to creation errors rather than preventing invoice generation entirely. Duplicate or incorrect invoices create financial inaccuracies and supplier disputes. Recurring invoices do not autocorrect errors. Instead, validation controls ensure that only valid invoices are generated. Without proper validation, the risk of financial discrepancies rises, making rigorous setup and control essential. Question 24. From the perspective of integration with procurement, Mr. Dyers notices that certain invoice lines fail to match purchase order lines in payables. What is the most likely reason and recommended approach? A. Invoice line quantities exceed purchase order quantities or lack corresponding receipts. B. Payables does not support integration with procurement cloud. C. The supplier forgot to send the purchase order. D. The payment process profile is incorrectly configured. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Payables relies on matching invoice lines with approved purchase order quantities and receipts. Excess invoice quantities or missing receipts cause mismatches and holds. Procurement cloud integration is a core feature and unlikely to be the cause. Suppliers do not send purchase orders. If procurement issues them, payment process profiles affect payments, not invoice matching. Correcting quantity and receipt discrepancies result. Question 25. When evaluating payment process profiles, O'Connor wants to ensure that payments are generated efficiently and accurately for different supplier groups. What is the best practice in configuring payment process profiles? A. Create single payment process profile for all suppliers to simplify processing. B. Configure multiple payment process profiles by currency, bank account, and payment method. C. Avoid using payment process profiles to manually control payments. D. Configure profiles only for domestic suppliers and exclude international ones. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Using a single profile oversimplifies and can cause processing errors and payment delays due to differing requirements. Manual payments increase errors and administrative burden. Excluding international suppliers risks compliance and operational gaps. Creating multiple profiles aligned with currency, bank accounts, and payment methods ensures that payment runs are efficient, accurate, and compliant across all subgroups. Question 26. According to recent studies, James needs to reconcile payments against bank statements regularly. What Oracle Payables feature best supports this process? A. Manual reconciliation using external spreadsheets. B. Bank reconciliation functionality to match payments and clear exceptions systematically. C. Ignoring reconciliation as long as payments are processed. D. Disabling payment batches to simplify reconciliation. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Ignoring reconciliation risks undetected discrepancies and financial inaccuracies. Manual reconciliation outside Oracle Payables is inefficient and error-prone. Disabling payment batches negatively impacts payment processing and tracking. Oracle Payables includes bank reconciliation tools that automate matching payments to bank statements and help identify exceptions, essential for accurate cash management and audit compliance. Question 27. Within the framework of supplier configuration, Mr. Lee wants to ensure that supplier payment details are up-to-date and secure. Which approach aligns with Oracle Payables best practices? A. Allow suppliers to update their payment details through a secure self-service supplier portal. B. Require suppliers to fax payment details for security. C. Store payment details in spreadsheets outside Oracle Payables. D. Prohibit suppliers from updating payment details to prevent fraud. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Faxing and external spreadsheets introduce risks of errors and security breaches. Prohibiting updates limits supplier flexibility and can cause outdated information. Oracle Payables Supplier Portal allows secure, controlled updates, improving data accuracy and reducing administrative burden. Self-service enhances supplier experience while maintaining strong security and audit trails. Question 20. When analyzing the effectiveness of invoice approval workflow is new and notices many approval delays, what configuration change could improve the workflow process? A. Remove all approval steps to speed up processing. B. Implement conditional routing and escalation rules in BPM to route invoices based on amount and age. C. Allow any user to approve all invoices regardless of amount. D. Disable workflow notifications to reduce email volume. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Removing approval steps or allowing all users to approve removes controls and risks unauthorized payments. Disabling notifications reduces transparency and can increase delays. The best approach is to configure conditional routing and escalations based on invoice attributes to ensure timely approvals and maintain controls. Proper notifications keep stakeholders informed, so disabling them is counterproductive. Question 29. During the process of data migration, ISTA wants to ensure smooth supplier data import into Oracle Payables. What is the most important consideration? A. Import data without validation to speed up migration. B. Cleanse and validate supplier data for duplicates, mandatory fields, and format before import. C. Skip supplier address data to reduce complexity. D. Allow users to fix import errors after migration. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Importing without validation leads to data integrity issues and duplicates. Skipping address data compromises business operations and communications. Fixing errors post-migration is inefficient and risky. Thorough data cleansing and validation before import ensure accurate, reliable supplier records, enabling seamless payables processing and reducing post-migration remediation efforts. Question 30. By evaluating journal and subledger accounting integration, Walker wants to ensure that all payables transactions generate accurate GL entries. What should be her key focus? A. Configure subledger accounting rules correctly to translate payables transactions into GL journal entries. B. Post payables transactions directly to the GL without subledger accounting. C. Manually enter journal entries in the GL for payables transactions. D. Ignore subledger accounting since Payables module handles everything internally. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Posting directly without subledger accounting bypasses essential controls and can cause inconsistent or incorrect GL entries. Manual journal entry is inefficient and error-prone. Ignoring subledger accounting undermines auditability and compliance. Proper configuration of subledger accounting rules ensures payables transactions translate correctly into GL journals, supporting financial integrity and regulatory adherence.